So in my opinion, the best outreach method for you to be doing is cold call. Yeah? And that's kind of like as a first rule, if you can, you should cold call, right? So if you're in a niche that's conducive to it, so for example, the gym niche, the solo niche, whatever, if you can cold call, you should be cold calling, yeah? So what I want to do in this video is give you a step-by-step framework to make an amazing cold call script that actually converts, okay? And so before that, if you don't know who I am, I'm Matt, I built an agency, and now I'm building coaching business, basically teaching people what I did with my agency, and I still do with my coaching business. And really the whole goal with it is to help you scale your agency to 10K per month. Okay? That's obviously if you are an early stage agency owner. Okay? So that's the most here, basically going through the 4 steps that you need to kind of go through to book a call through a cold call, right? And so the first one is the gatekeepers. So when you're cold calling, there's going to be 2 people that you encounter, right? You have gatekeepers and DMs. So gatekeepers are receptionists, are people who work at the company but are not the DM, which is the decision maker, right? So gatekeepers, the whole goal of a gatekeeper picking up a call is to put through the calls that to the DM that the DM needs, and like stop the calls that the DM doesn't need to kind of save the DM time, right? And so the whole goal really is to bypass them, right? You don't want to have a 10-minute conversation with them. You do not want to pitch the gatekeeper. The whole goal with gatekeepers is just getting past them as quickly and as swiftly and as easily as possible, right? So when I was cold calling, I was in the gym niche, and I was pretty fortunate to where I rarely encountered gatekeepers, but I know in there's a lot of niches, especially some dental, where it's basically it's 100% chance that you're gonna hit a gatekeeper, right? So really the key with gatekeepers is not the specific scripts, and you're gonna see this a lot throughout this entire video. The key isn't the specific scripts, it's the way that you go into it, right? So the best way that I like to frame this is that you're calling your friend and someone in the family picks up, right? So let's say your friend's home phone, right? You call your friend's home phone because you want to speak to your friend, and their mom picks up. So you're like, oh hey Angie or whatever, hey, can you just pass them on to Charlie, thanks, right? That's by far the best way to do it, right? And so when you're speaking to these people, the gatekeepers, you want to keep your answers short and concise, because when you're not rambling on and you're keeping things very short and concise, there's going to be a silence there, right? And that silence makes them kind of panic, kind of squirm, and just so they're like, okay, I don't really know what this is, I'm just going to be safe and give it to the DM, right? So if you're calling somebody, you're calling a business, and a gatekeeper picks up and they say, what's it regarding? And then you just give the DM name. The DM name is John, right? If so, the gatekeeper asks, what's it regarding? And you just say, John will know what it's about. And then you're silent, right? So she's like, okay, so what is this regarding? And immediately, you don't raise your inflection at the end of it. You don't ramble on to kind of make it look like you're nervous. You don't stutter that much, and you just say, John will know what it's about. Boom. That's basically the best way that you can get transferred to the DM, right? And the cool thing here is that you don't have to be 100% transparent, right? So you can say that, okay, yeah, I'm with a marketing company, blah 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 blah. What's gonna happen then is you're gonna end up pitching the gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper will say, I'm gonna pass it on to the DM, and then she's not going to, right? That's what's gonna happen. So what you can do is say that it's regarding a personal matter, or say that it's regarding if they say, what company are you with? You can just say, oh, well, nothing like that. I just want to talk to John, right? Because at the end of the day, there's going to be a very small chance that the gatekeeper gives a full rundown on exactly who you are. So if the gatekeeper, so there's going to be a very 1 in 100 chance that the gatekeeper says, this person is not from a marketing agency, I promise. And then pick up, and then you pitch the DM, and then the DM gets mad at you because you lied to the gatekeeper, right? That's going to happen 1 in 100 times. But the majority of the time, you can say, all you need to do is basically just say anything that you can to get towards the DM, right? So let's say you say something that is like a white lie to get towards the DM, and 1 in 20 times they call you out on it, right? That's still worth it, because the other 19 times you got towards the DM. Whereas if you told the truth and you only got to the DM like 1 in 100 times, that's going to be overall less amount of pitches done to the DMs, right? And the whole goal is conversations with DMs, right? So it's completely okay to tell white lies. All you need to do is basically just do anything that you can to get past the gatekeeper, right? That's step 1, bypass the gatekeeper. And then step 2 is permission to pitch plus transparency, okay? So the first kind of thing that we're doing is being transparent, right? Because as a general rule, no matter what niche you're in, people are gonna respect and love just full transparency, okay? So if you can say like, full transparency, I'm a salesperson with a product, that's going to be probably the best thing that you can say. Obviously, don't copy that exactly. Like I'm sure you saw Thomas Gannett video, they got like 1 million views, and that everybody says, hey, would you rather give me 30 seconds or hang up? That's not going to work because of classical conditioning. Okay? So, but the framework of just being completely transparent and honest, like upfront, is still going to work amazingly, right? Just not the specific scripts that tens of thousands of people have already used, right? But asking for permission to pitch and being transparent is probably the highest leverage best thing that you can do, right? And as I said before, it's really about the tactic that matters. I'm not going to give you a specific script because if you have a base level understanding of psychology and you understand your niche properly, like you've talked to a lot of people in your niche, then you can come up with a script better than me, right? Because I maybe if you're in the real estate niche, I don't know shit about real estate, right? But if you're a real estate marketing agency owner, then you're gonna know a lot more about real estate marketing and the way that real estate agents think than I do, right? So you can probably craft a better script for real estate, right? So that said, all that you really need to make sure that you know is permission to pitch plus transparency, right? And so obviously after that, people they'll either hang up or they'll say, okay, yeah, go ahead. And with the pitch, I'm gonna give you 3 key points, okay? So number 1 is that it has to be a high level overview. Number 2, don't use key bad words. And number 3, allude to the call, the sales call from the info, right? So let's break them down. So first of all, high level overview. So you want to keep this very, very high level. You don't want to break into specifics whatsoever, right? Because once again, the biggest kind of reason that somebody, at least consciously, thinks that they'll go into a sales call for is to get more info. Now, obviously, in reality, it's because they have a painful problem that they need solved. But the conscious reason someone will go into a sales call is to get more info, right? That's why you shouldn't have a website, a big lengthy website to explain exactly what your service is. That's why you shouldn't have a 10-minute pitch on a cold call. It's because you want to keep it high level so they can ask for more info and you say, okay, perfect, let's schedule the sales call, right? So that's number 1, keep it high level. And number 2, don't use key bad words, right? So this is the same with bypassing the gatekeeper, right? So let's say like your business name is called like, I don't know, like MJ Digital or MJ Marketing, right? Let's say my business is called MJ Marketing. If a gatekeeper asks what company I work for, if I say MJ Marketing, she's going to hear the word marketing and she's going to think, boom, marketing agency owner, boom, scammer, boom, phone down, right? That's kind of the classical conditioning that they'll have because a lot of the times they've been burned by bad marketing agency owners before, right? So the same way, you shouldn't use it anywhere like digital or like marketing when you're talking to a gatekeeper. You shouldn't use any kind of shiny bad words when you're talking to the decision maker either, right? So you shouldn't even mention, let's say you're doing Facebook ads, you shouldn't even mention Facebook ads. You shouldn't even mention anything like that. So this 1 and 2 kind of relate, high level, and don't use key bad words. Don't mention the specifics of what you're doing, and don't use any like key bad words that they've heard before that will kind of trigger the classical conditioning in them to think, okay, this is bad. I'm not gonna talk to this person, right? And then number 3, you want to always be alluding to the sales call for more info, right? So keep it high level, and then allude, and then obviously because they're gonna be curious on what you do, allude to the sales call for more info, right? And that's kind of like the best thing that you can do, right? So you give a high level overview. We explain at a high level how it works and how amazing it is, and like what there's no risk on their end, blah 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 blah, and then you allude to the call for more info, right? So after you've done that, step 3, step 4 is on call booking. So after you've gone over your offer at a high level, and you say, but it would be best to kind of go on a Zoom call for more info, then you book them in on the call, right? So what you need to do is you need to have a Calendly page that has no questions on it and is available 24/7, right? Because the Calendly page you're going to be using for cold calling is going to be different because you're not sending them a Calendly link, right? You're using the Calendly link yourself and booking them in for them, right? So you don't want to, if someone wants to have a call, you don't want to end the call and then send them a Calendly link to fill in and like go over on text. You want to book them in while they're still on the call, and you want to book them in on Calendly for them, right? So make a Calendly page that's identical to your other ones, except you can book 60 days in advance, you can book whenever, and there's no questions, right? So all you need to do is on the call, say, perfect, what time would you be free? So this is the key here. If you're doing the call call in the morning, you ask, awesome, what time would you be free today or tomorrow? And if you're doing it in the evening, you ask tomorrow or the day after. Okay? So as a general rule, you want to get the sales call booked in as close to the initial cold call as possible. Okay? And the reason for this is because basically the longer out the sales call is from the cold call, number one, the less likelihood of the show, and number two, because of that, the overall less likelihood of you closing them. Okay? So you want to have the sales call, ideally you have it like in 5 minutes, right? You want to have it as close as possible from when you're doing the initial cold call. Okay? So book them on the call to ask them what time would you be free tomorrow or the day after, just whenever as soon as possible, and get them booked in on the call, right? So you open Calendly on your laptop or whatever, and you type in their email. So you're okay, perfect. What would be the best email to send confirmation to? They say the email. You type it in. You type in the number for the Calendly like scheduled reminders. You already have the number. You're calling them, so you don't need to ask them that. And you just figure out a time, right? And you book them, and you say perfect. So I've got you in for this date at this time. Does that sound good? And then yep, perfect. See you then. Bye bye. Right? And then done. Just like that. You've booked the call. And then obviously after that, you have all the show up process stuff, and you have the sales call itself. But just like that, you've kind of done the hardest part of the client acquisition process, right? You've gone from stranger to someone who's interested and has booked a call with you, right? And so just to recap, the 4 steps is bypass the gatekeepers, right? Then permission to pitch plus transparency. Then a high level overview of your offer. When you make sure with this high level overview, you don't use keyword words, and you allude to the sales call form info, and then you book them while you're on the call, and you book it in for them. You don't send them a calendar. Okay, so I hope that helped you. If it has, please obviously do leave your stuff, like, comment, subscribe. And if you are an early stage agency owner, meaning you're making between 0 and 5K per month with a marketing agency, then the first link in the description is to you. Obviously, no pressure, click it if you want to. And one last thing, I always say this at the end of all the videos. This has been maybe 12, 11, 10 minutes long. You've had the, kind of the mental bandwidth to watch a 10-minute informative video, right? So most people, they're doom scrolling, like literally your competition, are doom scrolling on TikTok right now, and you just watched a 10-minute guide on helping you book more appointments for your agency, right? So you're already doing the right thing. Okay? So good job. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.